Imagine getting a letter from your father. But the strange thing is, the letter was sent to you at the exact same house where your father lived. The problem was, your father had already been dead for years. So, why did he send that letter? Today's story is about a man named Michael. Michael had been working for a courier service for 25 years. And for 25 years, he had delivered letters, parcels, documents, and bank papers and legal notices. Every morning, he put a courier bag over his shoulder and started his route. When it rained, he got wet. When the sun was hot, he got burned. And when winter came, he froze. He did not really love his job, but he never quit. There was one rule at his office. If the address was wrong or if the person could not be found, the courier had to try 3 times. After 3 times, they would write, "Recipient could not be found." Michael had written those words thousands of times, but one day he received a letter that made his hand stop. The sender's name was Robert Hall, and the recipient's name was Ryan Hall, and the address was 17B Lincoln Park, Chicago. At the bottom of envelope, it said urgent, personal. Michael looked at the envelope again. Something was strange. The sender and the recipient had the exact same address. A father had sent a letter to his son at his own home. Michael went to the address, but there was no 17B. There was 17. There was 17A, there was 17C, but there was no 17B. So Michael asked a man at a nearby store, "Excuse me, do you know where 17B is?" The man looked at him and said, "17B used to be here." Michael asked, "What happened to it?" The man said, "The old house was demolished. They built apartments here." Michael then asked, "Do you know a man named Robert Hall?" The man shook his head. "No, I didn't." Michael didn't give up. He went to a small coffee shop nearby. He asked the owner, "Do you know Robert Hall?" The man thought for a while and then he said, "Yes, I know. There used to be a Robert Hall around here." Michael asked, "Where is he now?" The man quietly replied, "He did." Michael asked, "When?" The man said, "Many years ago." Michael could have gone back to his office. He could have simply written, "Recipient could not be found." But that would have been the end of it. But Michael didn't do this. In the next day, he came back. This time, he found an old security guard named George. Michael showed him the envelope. As soon as George saw the name Robert Hall, his face changed. He said, "Mr. Hall is gone." Michael asked, "What about his son?" George replied, "He is in Canada." "Do you know where is he?" "I think it's Toronto."
I think Toronto. Michael asked, "Do they still have contact?" George slowly shook his head. "No." Michael asked, "Why?" George simply said, "Father and son had problems." Michael thought about that sentence. Father and son had problems. People often use those few words to explain very complicated relationships, but sometimes behind those simple words there is an entire lifetime of pain. Michael asked, "What kind of problems?" George said, "I don't really know." Then he put confused and he said, "But near the end of his life, Mr. Hall used to sit outside the gate every afternoon." Michael asked why. George says he was waiting for his son. Michael asked, "Did his son ever come?" George looked at him. "No." Michael did not say anything. That night, Michael searched for Ryan Hall online. He couldn't find him on Facebook, but he found someone on Instagram. Then the name was Ryan Hall. He was born in Chicago. He was living in Canada. He works as a software engineer. His age matched too. Michael looked at his profile picture. Ryan was standing in the snow with his wife and two children. Under the picture, there was a caption said, "Home is where your people are." Michael's search started at those words for a long time. Sometimes people can write beautiful things in English, but saying those same words in their own language can be much harder. Michael sent Ryan a message. He wrote, "A letter has arrived for you." There was no reply. 2 days later, Ryan finally replied. He asked, "Who are you?" Michael said, "I am a courier. Your father sent you a letter." Ryan replied, "My father died years ago." Michael said, "I know, but this letter is for you." There was no long silence. Then Ryan replied, "Don't contact me again." Michael stopped messaging him. He kept the letter inside his desk drawer. 1 week passed, then 2 weeks, then 1 month. Michael still didn't send the letter back. Then one evening, Ryan sent him another message. He asked, "What does the letter say?" Michael replied, "I didn't open it." Ryan asked, "Can you send me a picture?" Michael took a picture of the envelope and sent it to him. It was no reply for a long time. Then finally Ryan wrote, "That's my father's handwriting." Michael asked, Do you want the letter?" After a long silence, Ryan replied, "Yes." Michael asked for his address. Ryan sent it. And that same day, Michael mailed the letter for him. Michael thought, "My job is done." But 3 days later, his phone rang. It was an international number. Michael answered, "Hello." A man's voice said, "Are you Michael?" "Yes, I am Ryan." Michael stayed quiet. Ryan said, "I received the letter." Michael asked, "Do you know what your father said to me the last time he spoke?" Michael said, "No." Ryan replied, "He told me, if you ever come back, don't come to me." Michael didn't say anything. Ryan continued, "And I never came back." There was a long silence. Then Ryan asked, "Do you know what was inside the letter?" Michael said, "No." Ryan gave a small laugh. Then he said, "My father never wrote the letters to anyone." Michael was confused. "But this is his handwriting?" Ryan said, "Yes." Michael asked, "Then how did this letter get here?" He explained, "My father wrote it many years ago, but he never mailed it. He kept it inside his desk." Michael asked, "Then how was it made?" Ryan said, "After my father's house was sold, the new owner found the envelope among some old papers. Maybe he thought the letter had never been sent, so he dropped it into a mailbox." Michael asked, What did your father write? Ryan became quiet. Then he said, only one sentence. Michael asked. What sentence? Ryan said, I was wrong. Michael was surprised. That's all? Ryan said, yes. Michael asked, then why are you crying? Ryan couldn't answer for a moment. Then he said, because I thought fathers were never wrong. When Michael heard those words, he suddenly remembered his own father. Michael's father was a very strict man. When Michael was a child, he once skipped his school to watch a movie. His father found out and he beat Michael very badly. Michael became very angry. He decided, I will never speak to my father again. But just 2 days later, his father died. Michael's anger stayed, but his father was gone. And that's the strange thing about anger. Sometimes the person you're angry with disappears, but the anger stays. And one day you realize you have nowhere to send that anger. Then Ryan said, Michael. Michael replied, yes. Ryan asked, can you do something for me? Michael said, what? Ryan said, can you help me find my father's grave? Michael replied, yes. Ryan said, I don't know why, but I want to go. Michael asked, you want to come back to Chicago? Ryan said, yes. 3 months later, Ryan came back to Chicago. Michael didn't pick him up from the airport, but Ryan called him when he arrived. He said, Michael, I'm here. Michael asked, where are you? Ryan said, outside my old home. Michael went there. Ryan got out of the car. Michael looked at him. He had seen his pictures online, but real life was different. Ryan looked at Michael and asked, are you Michael? Michael said, yes. Ryan held out his hand. Michael shook it. Ryan's hand was trembling together. They went to the cemetery. They found Robert Hall's grave. Ryan stood there quietly for a long time. Then he slowly sat down. He didn't pray. He didn't say anything. He simply placed his hand on the ground. After a long silence, he whispered, Dad, I'm here. Michael stood a little farther away. Ryan continued, he told me not to come. Silence. I didn't come. Silence. You were wrong. Another silence. Then he whispered, I was wrong too, Dad. Michael couldn't stay there anymore because sometimes some conversation shouldn't have witnesses. Some words are meant to stay between the living and the dead. On the way back, Ryan said, Michael, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have come. Michael smiled. I only delivered a letter. Ryan shook his head. No, Michael asked. Then what did I do? Ryan looked at him and said, you delivered an address. Michael smiled. An address to the cemetery? Ryan shook his head. No. Then what? Ryan said. An address that led me back to my father. Michael didn't say anything. When he returned to his office evening, he called his son. His son didn't answer. Michael called again. This time his son answered. He said, what's wrong, Dad? Michael said, nothing. His son asked, then why are you calling? Michael asked, how are you? His son said, I'm good. Michael pushed. Then he asked, have you ever been really angry with me? His son laughed. Dad, you're angry with me almost every day. Michael smiled. Then he said, what if I have made mistakes? His son became quiet. Michael said, then tell me.
His son asked, "Why?" Michael replied, "So I can make things right." There was another long silence. Then his son asked, "Dad, are you okay?" Michael said, "Yes." His son asked, "Did you eat?" Michael said, "No." His son laughed softly. "Then eat something and get some rest." Then call ended. Michael looked at his phone for a long time. Then he opened his desk drawer. Inside was a photography of Robert Hall's letter. There was only one sentence: "I was wrong." Michael held the paper in his hand, and he thought, people write so many things in this world: books, poems, history, laws, loves, letters, apologies, but maybe the hardest letter in life is the one of that contains only the three words, "I was wrong." Sometimes it takes a father 75 years to say those words. Sometimes it takes a son 30 years to understand them. And sometimes it takes an entire lifetime. The next morning, Michael went back to the work. There was an old package sitting on his desk. The recipient was dead. There was no return address. The package had been waiting there for days. Dust was slowly collecting on it. Michael looked at it for a long time, and he thought, how many unfinished conversations are sitting somewhere in this world? How many apologies? How many words that were never spoken? How many people are waiting for a message that may never come? That day, Michael didn't feel like working, so he went home. His son was sitting on the couch, looking at his phone. Michael walked over and sat beside him. His son looked at him. Michael said, "I need to tell you something." His son looked surprised. "What?" Michael looked out the photography of Robert Hall's letter and placed it in front of his son. His son looked at the paper. Then he looked at his father for a few seconds. Neither of them said anything. Then suddenly his son stood up and hugged him. It was only for a few seconds, but it was enough. Michael put his hand on his son's back, and he didn't say anything because he knew if he had never delivered Ryan's letter, maybe he would never have been found the courage to talk to his own son. Michael still works for the courier service. Wrong addresses still come in. Packages still arrive for people who cannot be found. And at the office, they still write the same three words: recipient could not be found. But Michael doesn't write those words as easily anymore because now he understands some things. Sometimes people are not really missing. Sometimes they are hiding inside anger. Sometimes they are living inside distance. Sometimes they are trapped inside misunderstandings. Sometimes they are thousands of miles away. Sometimes they are lying beneath the ground. And sometimes they are living in the same house, just on the other side of a closed door. So now, whenever Michael holds a letter and thinks this person isn't here, he waits a little longer because the address might be wrong, but the letter usually isn't. A letter has a strange way of finding the person it was meant for. Sometimes it just needs someone writing to carry it here. Sometimes it needs someone like Michael, and maybe that's what a courier really does. He doesn't just deliver letters, sometimes he delivers people back to the ones they love.